Universitas Brawijaya had proclaimed as Entrepreneurial University, who first set in the strategic plan Brawijaya University in 2006. To become into Entrepreneurial University, Universitas Brawijaya have to reform 3 strategic issues in the field of autonomy, national competitiveness, and health organization. That basic become the foundation of any research that is implemented to have usefulness, so the science and technology resulting from research activities can be developed into a new business unit in the community. As Entrepreneurial University, Faculty of Administration Brawijaya University has dynamically developed, supporting the vision of Universitas Brawijaya. Faculty of Administration Brawijaya University for more than half century has been the best trustable administrative education institution to graduate with the best bachelor degree in the field of administrative science.
Dengan visi menjadikan VIA sebagai lembaga ilmu administrasi yang bermutu dan diakui oleh khalayak luas, baik di dalam maupun di luar negeri, kami akan selalu meningkatkan kualitas dan kinerja pendidikan yang berbasis pada nilai-nilai tata kelola kewirausahaan. Di dalam pengembangan pendidikan, kami juga didukung dengan adanya tenaga pendidik yang mumpuni dan ahli di bidang ilmu administrasi, memiliki latar belakang pendidikan dari dalam maupun luar negeri, atau tenaga pendidik di VIA UB juga tak jarang merupakan praktisi profesional sesuai dengan bidang keilmuannya. Mereka adalah orang-orang yang memiliki dedikasi tinggi untuk menghasilkan SDM yang ahli di bidang ilmu administrasi, sehingga mampu berkontribusi demi kemajuan bangsa ini.
VIA UB membuka berbagai ruang-ruang keilmuan di bidang ilmu administrasi. Di antaranya adalah ilmu administrasi publik dan ilmu administrasi bisnis. Keduanya memiliki sub-sub keilmuan yang membentuk beberapa program pendidikan yang telah mencetak lulusan-lulusan yang kompeten dan kredibel di bidang keilmuan masing-masing. Melalui evaluasi dan juga peningkatan mutu yang terus-menerus dilakukan, VIA UB diharapkan selalu menjadi lembaga pendidikan ilmu administrasi yang berkualitas dan dipercaya oleh masyarakat luas.
Tata kelola keuangan dan sumber daya di Fakultas Ilmu Administrasi Universitas Brawijaya dilaksanakan secara terstruktur dengan menjadikan data sebagai landasan pengalokasian kebutuhan yang mendukung terselenggaranya proses pendidikan yang optimal.
Di samping mahasiswa dipersiapkan sebagai insan akademis yang menguasai dengan baik pembelajaran di kelasnya terhadap teori-teori yang diberikan para dosen, kami juga melakukan pengembangan karakter atas minat bakat yang dipunyai oleh mahasiswa.
It is my dream to complete my study in the administrative field. Faculty of Administrative Science, University of Brawijaya has become my third choice. In addition to the quality and good learning experience, graduate output has high employment opportunities to compete globally.
The learning activities are delivered creatively and innovatively by the lecturers, so students can get real learning experience to provide their close-up picture of professional work. And I think this experience really helps students to shape their attitudes as the main factors in the world of work.
Universitas Brawijaya had proclaimed as Entrepreneurial University, who first set in the strategic plan Brawijaya University in 2006. To become into Entrepreneurial University, Universitas Brawijaya have to reform 3 strategic issues in the field of autonomy, national competitiveness, and health organization. That basic become the foundation of any research that is implemented to have usefulness, so the science and technology resulting from research activities can be developed into a new business unit in the community. As Entrepreneurial University, Faculty of Administration Brawijaya University has dynamically developed, supporting the vision of Universitas Brawijaya. Faculty of Administration Brawijaya University for more than half century has been the best trustable administrative education institution to graduate with the best bachelor degree in the field of administrative science.
Dengan visi menjadikan VIA sebagai lembaga ilmu administrasi yang bermutu dan diakui oleh khalayak luas, baik di dalam maupun di luar negeri, kami akan selalu meningkatkan kualitas dan kinerja pendidikan yang berbasis pada nilai-nilai tata kelola kewirausahaan. Di dalam pengembangan pendidikan, kami juga didukung dengan adanya tenaga pendidik yang mumpuni dan ahli di bidang ilmu administrasi, memiliki latar belakang pendidikan dari dalam maupun luar negeri, atau tenaga pendidik di VIA UB juga tak jarang merupakan praktisi profesional sesuai dengan bidang keilmuannya. Mereka adalah orang-orang yang memiliki dedikasi tinggi untuk menghasilkan SDM yang ahli di bidang ilmu administrasi sehingga mampu berkontribusi demi kemajuan bangsa ini.
VIA UB membuka berbagai ruang-ruang keilmuan di bidang ilmu administrasi. Di antaranya adalah ilmu administrasi publik dan ilmu administrasi bisnis. Keduanya memiliki sub-sub keilmuan yang membentuk beberapa program pendidikan yang telah mencetak lulusan-lulusan yang kompeten dan kredibel di bidang keilmuan masing-masing. Melalui evaluasi dan juga peningkatan mutu yang terus-menerus dilakukan, VIA UB diharapkan selalu menjadi lembaga pendidikan ilmu administrasi yang berkualitas dan dipercaya oleh masyarakat luas.
Tata kelola keuangan dan sumber daya di Fakultas Ilmu Administrasi Universitas Brawijaya dilaksanakan secara terstruktur dengan menjadikan data sebagai landasan pengalokasian kebutuhan yang mendukung terselenggaranya proses pendidikan yang optimal.
Di samping mahasiswa dipersiapkan sebagai insan akademis yang menguasai dengan baik pembelajaran di kelasnya terhadap teori-teori yang diberikan para dosen, kami juga melakukan pengembangan karakter atas minat bakat yang dipunyai oleh mahasiswa.
It is my dream to complete my study in the administrative field. Faculty of Administrative Science, University of Brawijaya has become my third choice. In addition to the quality and good learning experience, graduate output has high employment opportunities to compete globally.
The learning activities are delivered creatively and innovatively by the lecturers, so students can get real learning experience to provide their close-up picture of professional work. And I think this experience really helps students to shape their attitudes as the main factors in the world of work.
Universitas Brawijaya had proclaimed as Entrepreneurial University, who first set in the strategic plan Brawijaya University in 2006. To become into Entrepreneurial University, Universitas Brawijaya have to reform 3 strategic issues in the field of autonomy, national competitiveness, and health organization. That basic become the foundation of any research that is implemented to have usefulness, so the science and technology resulting from research activities can be developed into a new business unit in the community. As Entrepreneurial University, Faculty of Administration Brawijaya University has dynamically developed, supporting the vision of Universitas Brawijaya. Faculty of Administration Brawijaya University for more than half century has been the best trustable administrative education institution to graduate with the best bachelor degree in the field of administrative science.
Dengan visi menjadikan VIA sebagai lembaga ilmu administrasi yang bermutu dan diakui oleh khalayak luas, baik di dalam maupun di luar negeri, kami akan selalu meningkatkan kualitas dan kinerja pendidikan yang berbasis pada nilai-nilai tata kelola kewirausahaan. Di dalam pengembangan pendidikan, kami juga didukung dengan adanya tenaga pendidik yang mumpuni dan ahli di bidang ilmu administrasi, memiliki latar belakang pendidikan dari dalam maupun luar negeri, atau tenaga pendidik di VIA UB juga tak jarang merupakan praktisi profesional sesuai dengan bidang keilmuannya. Mereka adalah orang-orang yang memiliki dedikasi tinggi untuk menghasilkan SDM yang ahli di bidang ilmu administrasi, sehingga mampu berkontribusi demi kemajuan bangsa ini.
VIA UB membuka berbagai ruang-ruang keilmuan di bidang ilmu administrasi. Di antaranya adalah ilmu administrasi publik dan ilmu administrasi bisnis. Keduanya memiliki sub-sub keilmuan yang membentuk beberapa program pendidikan yang telah mencetak lulusan-lulusan yang kompeten dan kredibel di bidang keilmuan masing-masing. Melalui evaluasi dan juga peningkatan mutu yang terus-menerus dilakukan, VIA UB diharapkan selalu menjadi lembaga pendidikan ilmu administrasi yang berkualitas dan dipercaya oleh masyarakat luas.
Tata kelola keuangan dan sumber daya di Fakultas Ilmu Administrasi Universitas Brawijaya dilaksanakan secara terstruktur dengan menjadikan data sebagai landasan pengalokasian kebutuhan yang mendukung terselenggaranya proses pendidikan yang optimal.
Di samping mahasiswa dipersiapkan sebagai insan akademis yang menguasai dengan baik pembelajaran di kelasnya terhadap teori-teori yang diberikan para dosen, kami juga melakukan pengembangan karakter atas minat bakat yang dipunyai oleh mahasiswa.
It is my dream to complete my study in the administrative field. Faculty of Administrative Science, University of Brawijaya has become my third choice. In addition to the quality and good learning experience, graduate output has high employment opportunities to compete globally.
The learning activities are delivered creatively and innovatively by the lecturers, so students can get real learning experience to provide their close-up picture of professional work. And I think this experience really helps students to shape their attitudes as the main factors in the world of work.
Masih pakai virtual background.
Universitas Brawijaya had proclaimed as Entrepreneurial University, who first set in the strategic plan Brawijaya University in 2006. To become into Entrepreneurial University, Universitas Brawijaya have to reform three strategic issues in the field of autonomy, national competitiveness, and health organization. That basic become the foundation of any research that is implemented to have usefulness, so the science and technology resulting from research activities can be developed into a new business unit in the community. As Entrepreneurial University, Faculty of Administration Brawijaya University has dynamically developed, supporting the vision of Universitas Brawijaya. Faculty of Administration Brawijaya University for more than half century has been the best trustable administrative education institution to graduate with the best bachelor degree in the field of administrative science.
Dengan visi menjadikan VIA sebagai lembaga ilmu administrasi yang bermutu dan diakui oleh khalayak luas, baik di dalam maupun di luar negeri, kami akan selalu meningkatkan kualitas dan kinerja pendidikan yang berbasis pada nilai-nilai tata kelola kewirausahaan. Di dalam pengembangan pendidikan, kami juga didukung dengan adanya tenaga pendidik yang mumpuni dan ahli di bidang ilmu administrasi, memiliki latar belakang pendidikan dari dalam maupun luar negeri, atau tenaga pendidik di VIA UB juga tak jarang merupakan praktisi profesional sesuai dengan bidang keilmuannya. Mereka adalah orang-orang yang memiliki dedikasi tinggi untuk menghasilkan SDM yang ahli di bidang ilmu administrasi, sehingga mampu berkontribusi demi kemajuan bangsa ini.
VIA UB membuka berbagai ruang-ruang keilmuan di bidang ilmu administrasi. Di antaranya adalah ilmu administrasi publik dan ilmu administrasi bisnis. Keduanya memiliki sub-sub keilmuan yang membentuk beberapa program pendidikan yang telah mencetak lulusan-lulusan yang kompeten dan kredibel di bidang keilmuan masing-masing. Melalui evaluasi dan juga peningkatan mutu yang terus-menerus dilakukan, VIA UB diharapkan selalu menjadi lembaga pendidikan ilmu administrasi yang berkualitas dan dipercaya oleh masyarakat luas.
Tata kelola.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Dean of the Faculty of Administrative Sciences, Associate Professor Andi Fefta Wijaya, PhD, the Honorable Head of Business Administration Department, Faculty of Administrative Sciences, Associate Professor Muhammad Iqbal, BBA, the Honorable Head of Study Program, Business Administration, Faculty of Administrative Sciences, Professor Dr. Muhammad Saifi, the Honorable Associate Professor of University Technology Malaysia, Associate Professor Dr. Ramesh Zaidi Rozan, and all their guests. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Monica Nella. It is a wonderful and precious chance for me to be your Master of Ceremony in this morning on Saturday, 10 of September 2022. Welcome in our big event, 3-in-1 of Business Study Program with the theme Bolstering the Role of Artificial Intelligence in Digitizing Business Service. First of all, let's say thanks to God who has been giving us guidance, happiness, health, and mercy. Thus we can attend with and participate in even without obstacles. In this beautiful moment, I would like to say welcome to Associate Professor Dr. Ramesh Zaidi Rozan from University Technology Malaysia. On this special morning, we have several agendas. So allow me to read several sequences of our agendas. The first is the opening, The second is Let's Sing the National Anthem Indonesia Raya. The third is remark from Associate Professor Muhammad Iqbal, BBA. The fourth is remark from Associate Professor Andi Fefta Wijaya, PhD. And the fifth is main season with our guest lecturer, and the last, closing. Ladies and gentlemen, let's sing the national anthem Indonesia Raya. On the following agendas is opening remark from Head of Business Administration Department, Faculty of Administrative Sciences. Please welcome Associate Professor Muhammad Iqbal, DBA. Time is yours.
Thank you very much, Monica. Good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, Associate Professor Zaidi. The Honorable Dean of the Faculty of Administrative Science, Associate Professor Andi Wijaya, PhD. Good morning, Pak Dekan, and Honorable.
Good morning, Pak Iqbal.
Morning.
Yeah.
Sehat-sehat, Pak Dekan. Sehat-sehat.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Yeah.
I would like to also mention my greetings to the head of the program of the undergraduate program for business administration, Professor Muhammad Saifi. Hopefully he's here this morning because I cannot see him in my screen, but hopefully he'll join up soon. And good morning to all of the committee, the organizers, the students, and all of the participants who joined up with us this morning in order to join the 3-in-1 program conducted by the undergraduate program of business administration. First of all, this program is by far our 4th year in running of this program, the 3-in-1, which was aimed to engage practitioners, academics, overseers, as well as our academics. And within this program, we hope to learn and interact with our peers abroad and domestically in order to provide essential and important knowledge that our students need to obtain. And I believe that this morning we are welcoming one of our experts, in the context of information system, Associate Professor Zaidi. I have not seen Professor Zaidi for such, several years now because of the COVID, but hopefully he could rejoin us and visit us again in future to come. And because of the theme is bolstering the role of AI in digitizing business services, we believe that the trend, it's not becoming a trend when people say about, when we talk about artificial intelligence, digital technology, digital business, but rather it has now become a must or a necessity. We cannot see that digitization is just as a trend, but now there is a growing need, because when we talk about artificial intelligence, we talk about information system, we talk about technologies. Our students, although they are mostly a digital native, but the knowledge behind it cannot be taken for granted. So that's why I urge every lecturers of the business administration department, I urge every students who joins with who joined up for this program within a few or several weeks to come, to learn, to comprehend, and to further interact with experts in this area on in STEAM. Because when we don't endeavor or learn more about AIs, about the future of business and the future of work, the future of knowledge itself, then in years to come, it is believed that we would become inexistent or irrelevant. And I believe that with his expertise, all of our peers who joined us this morning and for several weeks to come, including Professor Zaidi, will talk more in depth about importance of data analysis, importance of computations, because we both have been engaged in digital entrepreneurship for quite a while now, and it's very I'm very happy to see him. I'm very happy to see Professor Zaidi with us today. And by the end, hopefully, we can invite Dr. Zaidi in future to come when there are no more restriction for mobility, especially international travelers. And thank you for Pak Dekan as well, who has been much of a support in supporting our activities as well as the implementation of such program. And hereby, on behalf of the Department of Business Administration, I would like to thank and say my greatest gratitude for everyone involved and joined up this morning for the 3-in-1 program. Thank you very much. Good morning. Stay healthy all. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, Pak Iqbal, for the speech. Next is Ramesh from Dean of Faculty of Administrative Science. Please welcome Associate Professor Andi Fefta Wijaya, PhD. Time is yours.
Baik, terima kasih. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. The Honorable Guest, Associate Professor Dr. Ramesh Zaidi Rozan from University Teknologi Malaysia, the Honorable Head of Department Business Administration, Bapak Associate Professor Muhammad Iqbal DBA, the Honorable Head of Study Program in Business Administration for undergraduate level, Bapak Profesor Dr. Muhammad Saifi, and the head of 3-in-1 program for undergraduate in business administration, Ibu Nur Imamah PhD, and the moderator Bapak Inggang Perwangsa PhD, all lecturer who join in this activity, and also all students who already involved in this activity. Thank you for the very prestigious event and very important topic about bolstering the role of artificial intelligence in digitalizing business services. This is, as the Pak Iqbal mentioned, very, very important topic, and then the advanced issue currently. Artificial intelligence alongside with big data, with Internet of Things, and also with the blockchain, currently become the big agenda that we have to talk, in the progress of business services. As we know, our situation currently in the situation that what we see as the society 5.0, we are moved from information society to society 5.0. In the era of society 5.0, we try to elaborate between cyberspace and also with physical space. Not in the current era, in current information society, between cyberspace and physical space, relatively still spirited, even not entirely, but in some cases still spirited, because we access to cyberspace from cloud, and then we access usually individually. But by using artificial intelligence, we can combine, we can connect together between cyberspace and then physical space. So it helps us to interpret everything easily. So that's why artificial intelligence is the ability of machines to use algorithms, to learn from data and use what has been learned to make decisions like human. All systems that think like human, system that act like humans, system that think rationally, system that act rationally. That is artificial intelligence. Then we will talk about this in the business services, and this is very important information that will be discussed by Professor Ramesh. I hope that we can learn many things from Professor Ramesh. I'm glad that you are here. You will give your knowledge and also information related to the very important topic to all of us. We are welcome someday that you will come here by luring, so we can see each other. Maybe next time we also will visit you in Malaysia, when the situation already normal, clearly normal. Hope we can visit you in Malaysia. Okay, everybody who already make the activity today home place, I would like to say thanks. Thanks to the Ibu Imamah and team. And this is very good event to all student and lecturer who involved today. Welcome to the event, and then I hope that we can get many knowledge and information today to bring up our thinking about what is the role of artificial intelligence in digitalizing business services. Otherwise, we will left behind. If we not try to catch up, the progress in this very important topic. Okay, I would like to close my my speech, and formally I open up this 3-in-1 program, and hopefully this will be success today. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Pak Andi, for the speech. Before entering the main agendas, there will be a documentation session. Please the participants to turn on the camera first. Untuk sesi dokumentasi akan saya pandu. Mungkin dari slide yang pertama, 1, 2, 3. Untuk slide yang kedua, 1, 2, 3. Untuk slide yang ketiga, 1, 2, 3. Untuk slide yang keempat, 1, 2, 3. Untuk slide yang kelima, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you for all participants. Now let's continue the main agendas. That is, it will be delivered by our lecturer, Inggang Nur Alam, PhD, as moderator. Let I introduce curriculum vitae of moderator in Bahasa. Bapak Inggang Perwangsa Nur Alam, SE, MBA, PhD, merupakan salah satu dosen di Fakultas Ilmu Administrasi Universitas Brawijaya. Beliau memiliki keahlian pada perilaku konsumen, pengelolaan hubungan pelanggan, dan juga proses psikologi konsumen. Beliau menempuh pendidikan formal dengan meraih gelar sarjana pada Fakultas Ekonomi di Universitas Brawijaya, lalu Master of Business Administration pada University of Sunderland di Inggris, dan mendapat program doktor pada Kobe University di Jepang. Saat ini beliau aktif sebagai staf ahli pada program studi administrasi bisnis via UB. Dan itu Pak Inggang, time is yours.
Thank you, Nela, for the time. The Honorable Head of the Department of Faculty of Administrative Science, Associate Professor Iqbal, the Honorable Dean of the Faculty of Administrative Science, Associate Professor Andi Fefta Wijaya, and also Associate Professor Zaidi from University Technology Malaysia. It's an honor for us having you here. And before we go to the main lecture, I would like to give read your short bio. Dr. Ramesh Zaidi Rozan, an Associate Professor in Information Systems at Azman Hashim International Business School. Previously, he served as the Director of UTM Excite, a university-level center for innovation and entrepreneurship, building between UTM community and external stakeholders. He has over 27 years of experience in private and public organizations and has been an entrepreneur since 1993. He has a Bachelor of Science, Master of IT, and Doctor of Engineering in Information Science and Control Engineering in 2007 from Japan, and a Diploma in Digital Entrepreneurship in 2020. Dr. Zaidi continues his professional development, having recently been selected as one of 16 worldwide participants of the International Visitors Leadership Program, USA, focusing on science and technology entrepreneurship, inter-regional project. He also led the Impact Digital Entrepreneurship Apprentice at KPT National Program, and just recently completed a master's program in data scientist. Since 2013, he has accumulated 1.5 billion industry grants and 2 million public grants from the Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia on projects relating to entrepreneurship development. Actively involved in coaching and mentoring startups, he has assisted many projects or enterprises owned by young entrepreneurs. This applies mainly to technology-driven enterprise within the domain of computing and electronics. Dr. Zaidi, as I called you, if you remember me, we once met in Malang, Indonesia. We are truly happy, pleased, and honored to have you now to give a lecture about computational thinking in entrepreneurship. Surely this is a new perspective for us as our graduate students learning about design thinking, our business model canvas. As you know, also you learn about that and then you have a knowledge about that. So computational thinking in entrepreneurship is a new perspective for us. And today, this is a chance for us getting a lecture from you and getting an insight from you about this lecturer. So we got 60 to 70 minutes of session because we are also graduated from Japan. Dr. Zaidi is my Dai Senpai, senior, my senior. Thank you, Dr. Zaidi. Time is yours. Please, about this session is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to say thank you to my dear friend, okay, my kohai, okay, Ingang-san. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
Yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
Konto hisashiburi desu ne. So it's a long time didn't meet. Okay, yes. allow me to share my slides.
Yes, please.
Okay, I hope everyone can see my slide.
It's still on process.
Oh, okay. Okay, while waiting for that, so I would like to appreciate and thanks to the Honorable Dean, Associate Professor Dr. N.B. Wijaya, and also my dear friend, okay, Head of Department, Associate Professor Dr. Iqbal, okay, and of course Dr. Wiyata, who has been helping me in what they call assisting me in arranging the presentation, and my fellow friends, okay, who has been a long time. The last time I was there was, I think, 2018, okay. Yes. And my fellow friend Pak Brili, okay, who is now doing his PhD, and also our the former Dean Prof Bambang. So I'm happy to meet. Is it okay? Can you see now? Is it still
in process?
Still processing. Let me. Just wait for a while. I think there's something taking my resources very, very much. Just give me a minute. Let's try again. Okay.
Dr. Zaidi, at this time, our participant is undergraduate students from different courses in system information management and e-commerce, and also in service marketing. Okay. So it's quite a broad perspective, maybe. Yeah, it's already.
Let me.
I can see.
Let me just put it in the presentations.
Yep. Yeah, it's on the screen.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, so Alhamdulillah. So thank you very much. Okay, I also like to thank our MC, Miss Monica. Okay, all right. So let's share. I will do some sharing here. Okay, okay. I think the word computational thinking, sometimes it creates some kind of what they call, people say, I shouldn't go into computing. I shouldn't go into something, let's say, computational, because when I was doing this in, I think around 2016, I was actually invited to become, what they call, to join a program. And at that time, I was in the first batch, around 30 of us was certified by the Ministry of Higher Education, and also by MDEC, Malaysian Digital Economic Corporation, who is actually a big organization who's taking care of digital movement in Malaysia, as a computational thinking and computer science master trainer. So at that time, it was I heard the name of computational thinking. I was like, what is this all about? Of course, I'm from computing faculty. At that time, I'm 15 years in computing. So I was like, what is this all about? So asking a lot of questions to myself. And later on, to what they call, to put some appreciation into that, because we are always open. Okay, all of us here, I believe. Okay, I've been to University Brawijaya, a very beautiful campus, and you can, of course, you have a very beautiful Mount Bromo, and I see, I meet with a lot of students. They are so very enterprising. Okay, so here it's just a little what they call, part of the thinking which I would like to introduce, so that we can have a better thinking, or we call it a better thought process. Okay, so if you talk about thinking, there's a lot of thinking: mathematical thinking, strategic thinking. Just now Dr. Inggang mentioned design thinking, okay, because it's focusing on design base, or we call it design approach. So all this kind of thinking, sometimes people feel like, oh, it's confusing. Okay, but don't be confused, just open up, and then we will listen. I will share with you, of course, there are level of easiness up to the level of quite challenging, but I'm going to share with you at the end, one of my students who just graduated, okay, Dr. Najmi, who actually I supervise PhD Information Systems, who actually the first to do computational thinking for SME, small medium enterprise. I will share his research a little bit, because it's quite complicated. It's very complicated, especially in terms of methodology. Okay, I'm not going very deep into that, but we'll open that later in the question. All right, so where is this word computational thinking came from? So it was introduced by Professor Samuel Pepper. Okay, that was a long time ago, actually 1980. All right, and at that time, this professor, mathematician, he mentioned that he claimed that computational thinking will help define the relationship between a problem and its solution. This is actually very powerful, because if we look at a lot of presentation on computational thinking, a lot of people will talk about Steve Jobs. Okay, Steve Jobs actually telling, they will put actually a poster of Steve Jobs stating that it's the thinking, we don't need to code. Okay, it's not compulsory to do coding, to do all the programming, but it's very important to go through the process so that we can have a better thinking style, or that is actually very much related to computational thinking. Okay, but please bear in mind, we are not learning computational thinking to become a computer. Please bear in mind. Okay, so when I started in 2016, I actually trained 150 teachers. 150 teachers in Johor with another 4 of my team member. So one person actually handling 30 teachers. So it's actually a very long 6-month program. Okay, we have a lot of teachers, even the deputy, what they call director of education, was having an idea of computational thinking as a way of thinking so that human being can become like machine. Okay, no, we don't do that. Okay, we are much better than machine. We are much better. We design machine. Allah, the God, our God designed us. We design machine. So we cannot actually say the machine is better than us. The only thing is they have their ability to do something very efficient. They don't forget things. They actually less error and so on. Okay, so here when Samuel Pepper came out with the concept of relationship between problem and solution, it's not very famous. Okay, because he's a mathematician and he feels like whatever he do, it's related to computational thinking. So it's like it's a practice for him. So it's not really being advertised or given a lot of awareness. So when did it become so famous? This is a question. When did it become so famous? So this lady is a professor in computer science, okay? Professor Janet Wing, Professor Wing. So she started to actually put into a perspective of what is computational thinking. So she actually mentioned computational thinking is a thinking processes, okay, involved in formulating problems and their solutions so that the solutions are represented in a form that we can actively or we can give it effectively to an information processing agent. So, wow, so it's like, wow, so big. It's actually very, very big. So, but these things, the centers there is what all the computer scientists have been doing for many, many years. So when I went into computational thinking and computer science program, it's a national program, which I mentioned just now, and I got the certification to become a master trainer. When I came in, I saw this definition, then I say, oh, I know already what is this all about. Okay, because, but when we know, but we keep it in ourselves, let's say I'm from computing, I keep it in me, myself, it's not a good, what they call, it's not really a good academician because I just keep it with me. And then I was like, oh, why it becomes a big thing? All right. So based on our honorable dean, okay, Professor Andy mentioned about what they call IR 4.0 or all this digitalization and so on. So this is where actually it kicks in because in order to make sure that people get the understanding of how to develop something and we can actually pass it to a machine, okay, or whatever it is that we do in mathematics, we calculate, and then it goes to our calculator. Okay, the calculator will do processing. Otherwise, everything will be so difficult. Okay, so that is actually computational thinking. All right. So in this case, okay, what the responsibility that we are having here is to break it down until everyone can practice. Okay, so please remember all our fellow guests here, of course, our beloved students from the information system maklumat, sistem pengajian maklumat, and so on, adalah it's very important so that we don't think it's difficult. I tell you, it's not difficult. I tell you, it's not difficult. It's just a thing we call it common sense, but we must make it as a common practice. Okay, please, this is very important. Okay, so this definition, what it says actually in a normal language, in everyday you can say it to anyone, is like thinking of something, specifically on the problem, thinking again on the solution, write it down into something that is easily represented. Maybe it's an information representative tool. For example, flow charting. Everyone is doing flow charting. And then later on, we take this, pass it to, we call it an information processing agent. To make things simpler, the agent is not necessarily machine. Not necessarily machine, okay? It can be a human being who is very expert in coding. He understood everything, he code for you. Then voila, then finish. We settle that one. Okay, so please be relaxed because it's not that difficult. But if we go deeper, the difficulties goes to the type of problem that we want to solve. All right. Okay, so these are, for example, the city processes. We have problems and we have there are so many types of computational thinking process, but the most accepted one is these four. We call it decomposition, call it pattern recognition. We also call it, the other one is abstraction, and the other one is algorithm. And later on, once we go through all these processes, we would be able to go into what we call as information processing. Okay, so let me proceed. Okay, so the background and motivation for me actually to go very deeply into this, okay, is, okay, we know already, Professor Wing mentioned about city, but if you look at city, one of the things that she mentioned there is city for everyone, every way, and it can be applied in any domain, and also for non-major computer people. When this thing came out, a lot of people say, are you sure, Professor Wing? Are you sure? So, you know, we are academicians, so we always look at this critically. Are you sure it can be used for everyone? Everyone, that means in every, for example, levels, maybe from primary school, secondary schools, and go tertiary level, or maybe everywhere, it doesn't matter what context you put, and also in any domain, maybe in domain of, for example, food industry, in domain of, let's say specifically in digital marketing, or maybe in what they call entrepreneurship, for example. That's a very big world by itself. Okay, and it's meant for non-computer people, non-major computer. That means they don't have anything to do about understanding computer. They can do that. And then Professor Guzdial came out in 2015, stated that lack of study on how CT can demonstrate the transfer of knowledge from computer science to real world. This is the way when Professor Wing mentioned about any way everyone can do. Guzdial mentioned that, hey, there's no study, you know. We are just talking. And then for your information, my honorable, my ladies and gentlemen, Professor Janet Wing came out with an article, Computational Thinking. It's just a 2 pages article in SEM, Association for Computing Machinery. And that 2 pages article becomes like, boom, everyone will like, what happened? Okay, so Guzdial, after he mentioned that lack of study, somebody else or all of us must study this. And then Denning came out, he mentioned that lack of empirical studies to support Wing's claim that it can be transferred to non-computer people. So when we say lack of study, lack of empirical study, that means lack of research. Okay, lack of empirical research, which we are responsible to do as a researcher. Okay, so this is where I was like, oh, this is something that I've applied to teach teachers. I've applied to help entrepreneur, and now I'm doing consulting. Just last Thursday, I met with my business partner. We were discussing on a specific problem related to parallel processing and also concurrent processing for a specific event. Very, very specific. And when I asked that question, he was like, he's an expert, subject matter expert. He was like, I cannot answer you, Prof. I said, yeah, this is what we have to do, sit down together. So, but if I tell that, it already applied to non-academic. But now, these two guys, Guzdial and Denning, mentioned we must go and do empirical study. So whatever it is, if you Google computational thinking, you can see a lot of people actually now doing research on computational thinking in education. That's the most. Okay. Based on one of my paper, bibliometric analysis. Oh, I don't have the paper to show you today, but it's actually showing the biggest one is on education. So it goes to my mind, where does it show how it applies to entrepreneurship? No one has been doing it. And I found one when we Google, that was 2018, one website, British Computing Society, mentioned that CT, computational thinking, is good for business. We were like, okay. So me and my student were so excited. We found that and we went in and learned. They mentioned, but not very, very specific. So again, it creates a big question to me and my student. I say, we need to do something. We need to do something. But my student were like, how, what to do? I say, let's go and find something. So that's where we come out with, I come out with one PhD student related to this, and we'll go again deeply into that. All right. So one motivation that we found, okay, is based on Mr. Illich, Professor Illich comment, the effect of city on daily life and practical uses. This is what he claimed. He mentioned that city can be used in daily life. As I mentioned just now, it's common sense, but is it common practice? Okay, so the other one is the impact and significance of city in certain profession. It's acceptable. Frankly speaking, when I was doing the certification of computational thinking, we actually apply computational thinking even for history subject. Don't be surprised. CT for history subject. Okay. Later on, when I tell you the concept, then you can make sense out of it. Okay. So what is actually computational thinking? So it's a little bit, okay, I put it in one page. Okay. What is it? It's the thought process I mentioned just now, but this is in a different way to formulate problems and expressing its solution, which can be passed to an agent. Okay, when we say pass to an agent, either it's a machine or a human. Okay, this is one of a very highly cited paper. Okay, and number two, it has been dubbed as a fundamental skill for 21st century and learnable by all, regardless of discipline. That was me and my students' paper, 2021. And the other one, CT establishes a more natural-like thought process. This is what I put in my paper. Of course, it's still under research. I mentioned the word natural-like, so I have to prove it. Okay, and it is simpler for learners from non-technical discipline due to the association of real practice with CT. Okay, so because I'm from computing, now I moved to business school in Malaysia, in UTM. That is where I found, when I introduced CT, people were like, sir, this is business school. This is not computing. Last time you are in computing, you okay. I said, no. Just listen to me. When I tell, then you believe me. So it's the same, because even last time I went twice to Brawijaya University, I was requested to present keynote speech for non-computing. So that is a challenge for me, but I try very much to make sure that we can, because we need to synergize. We have to work together. Computer people cannot work without people from public admin. We got people from business admin. No, I don't think so. It won't work. No one can work alone. Okay. And the four main pillar of facet of CT are decomposition, pattern recognition, algorithm, and abstraction. Okay. Some of the words they mentioned, like hashing, pipelining. Okay. Don't think about that. Just if you can think it like algorithm as a step, it's good already. Okay. I will show you what it is, the basic of it. Okay, so if you look here, okay, so I found a diagram. It shows what is decomposition, breaking down data and problems into smaller parts. We have been doing it, right? We have been doing it. So there are so many ways of doing it. Number two, pattern recognition. Observe patterns and trends in data. We also have been doing it. Okay. Number three, algorithms. I think the mostly used. Okay. Determine what steps are needed to solve a problem. Step 1, step 2, step 3. So we do it, even the simplest one, we use what they call flow charting. Okay, we have been doing it. And the fourth one is actually abstraction. This one is a little bit confusing, but still, I will explain later. What we do is we remove the detail, and we only find, or we only show the relevant information. Okay, in computing, we call it information hiding. Okay, but I don't want to use that one here. It's not so good in business. Oh, your information hiding. Oh, it's not so good. Okay, the word is not, it doesn't bring good connotation. All right, so I want to share a few of papers that I presented, and me and my student presented. The first one is a challenge also, because I came out with a way to do a CT, computational thinking approach to learning data science for business school students. Okay, I think it's relevant to everyone here. Okay, and then Alhamdulillah, that paper, I got a best presenter award for that. Okay, just to share, if we see here, data science, okay, talking about data science alone, okay, I'm not talking about data science from perspective of computing. I'm talking data science from the perspective of, in this case, because the conference was for accountant. So here, even I actually extracted, okay, some of the people there, they didn't realize that it's actually put under AACSB because it's very new. AACSB to add data analytics from 1st July in Uniform Certified Public Accountant, CPA, examination blueprint for auditing and attestation and business environment and concept. So there are two here. If you look here, digital playmaker and also the data navigator. You see. So it's very important. Okay. No longer we just say leave it to the computer people. Okay. And then the difficulties with conventional data science. Here I actually mentioned the difficulties. Okay. Because most of the approach currently used, it's based or it's fitted for CS, IS, and IT technical domain students. Okay. So this one professor mentioned, Ponaras argued that the highest challenge to learning data science is the ability to perform data processing and visualization. This involves the manipulation of data until automatically or at least semi-automatic, which certainly requires computational skills. So this is where a lot of people like, please don't tell me about this. Okay. But frankly speaking, every one of us, either you are computer people or non-computer people, we are now must deal with data. We must deal with processes. Okay. And we must find ways to have a good efficiency and effectiveness. And the third one, the ability to code has been argued to associate with the cognition. Okay. Our thinking. Or the way of learning things, strategize and act. Therefore, CT fits to the position nicely. So what happened here? If for those who are familiar with what they call doing assignments in programming, like me last time, we do a lot of assignments. If I'm given a problem, you are given a problem, another friend given a problem, none of us will write the same way. None of us. Unless it's copy. It's copy is different story. Okay. But if you do it on your own, none. You will not get the same way of thinking. Some people, they can go do like 15 lines to solve something. Maybe me like 25. Some people can do like 7 lines only. So very powerful. And it's very efficient. Okay. So because they think like now, how we think of a problem, if it's very messy in our head, we cannot entangle, then we have problem. We just skip and sleep with the problem. So we don't want that. We have to start from there, thinking straight. Okay. So in this case, number 4, however, CT never limits only to coding, but rather universal in nature. This is the thing that we want to say. And it's also mentioned not only by me and my student, mentioned by Wing in 2006. Okay. So this is just a comparing, because many people were like want to understand computational thinking and mathematical thinking. They are overlapping. The problem solving part, the modeling part, the data analysis, the statistics. You know, we have a lot of statistics is very important in MBA, in public administration, in all fields. But I can see people in business, they have very, very strong, okay, quantitative analysis and so on, and it requires all this. All right. Okay, I will show you a little bit how I actually do in this paper. Okay, application of CT processes for data scientists. Okay, so decomposition we know already. Okay, so normally when people get a data set, they get overwhelmed. They feel like, oh, it's too much. Why so many? Let's say you receive an Excel file. What should you do first? That's the question. What should you do first? So some people say, okay, I receive Excel file, and then what I do, I look at the formula. Some people, they go into detail. They look at the formula. Why this one come out like this? Some people, they look into a bigger picture. Okay, so a bigger picture and a detailed picture, I'll cover that later in abstraction. But the best thing about when looking at big things, we need to break it down into smaller pieces. We call it decomposition. Let's say you get this. Okay, this is one of the projects that I do when I do the machine learning. Okay, so a lot of this is very long actually until the bottom there. So there's a lot of variable there. And then we have all this. Okay, and then later on you got headache already. So what happened in data science? We have tools to help us. For example, D types. These are tools. You just have to remember. Okay, and then you can just use this tool, D types, bracket, enter, then you can get whatever it is, the big picture of the file itself. Okay, so we actually see, and then we break it down into smaller pieces. So we call it decomposition. And then pattern recognition. Everything that we break down, we can spot some pattern. Okay, they must be similar. If they are not similar, that means there's unique. Also, there will be case like that, but most of the problem always have similar and repeated, or maybe some outliers. Okay, so we actually, for example, we use looping. We loop the data and then we see whatever it is there. For example, we use this. Okay, we use that for column in cat. Of course, you see, I have to remember this, maybe like this, maybe I need to remember this. Don't worry, you can, it's not exam. You can have the menu with you, and then you just key in, type, and then it just helps you in finding the pattern. You see all these, they have pattern, the green color. And algorithm, this is the most used by anyone. It's a step-by-step instruction of how to solve a problem. Okay, this involves the step of exploring the data, knowing the number of the records, knowing the column. Imagine if you look at the Excel file, okay, we can see, oh, okay, how many records we have, how many columns we have, how many numbers we have, what are the process. So every each of this is actually algorithm. So it's step by step. So normally, let's say, if we relate this to our life, let's say we are making coffee. Let's say, like say me here, I have my coffee. So I make coffee. Number one, how I make coffee. I find coffee on the shelf. This is, we call it a pseudo code. Okay, pseudo code. This one, okay. Find coffee on the shelf, look at the item in the coffee. If it's coffee, I'm okay. If not coffee, I go back. So this algorithm is logic, okay. And then we call it abstraction. This is a little bit challenging, but I will show you a picture so that it's easy for you to understand, okay. So it looks like this. This, abstract-o-meter, we call it, okay. No, this is not developed by me, but it's nice, okay. You see, if we go into things which are too detailed, too realistic, some people may not, maybe they understand, but they don't have time to listen to you, okay. And some things too abstract, people don't actually know. You see, we don't actually know what is the square. There's a black line going through it, but we don't know what is the square. But this one is just right, okay. So abstraction is the process to hide information if the things are not required, okay. So as a learner, when we apply computational thinking, in computing, we have abstraction layer, higher layer, layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, because we have different layer to show the details. If we put more layer, that means we have more detail, okay. So here in data science, we even have a lot of library in Python, okay. So, and anyone can learn. I believe if you go online, there's a lot of tools available. In just 30 minutes, you can get to understand what is all these tools that are provided related to looking at the big picture and the details. Okay, so even in business, I put there, business students are trained better to deliver abstracted high-value information. In what sense? Pitching. People in business, they can do pitch very, very well. Why? Because they know the big picture. They can just tell you the value. Everyone must graduate at least one thing they need to know is to write a value proposition statement. Okay, when we learn BMC, we learn Lean Canvas, we learn design thinking, at the end of the day, we need to put that value proposition. So that is actually abstracted level. Okay, just right. If you go too detailed, you don't have that much time to do elevator pitch. So like this is example. If we are abstract level, we can see a lot of things, but we cannot see very detailed. But we know a bird's eye picture of it. Oh, okay, now I know the location. Where is Surabaya? Okay, where is Malang? Then I know. Where do you fly? So, then I see. But some people, you tell them, can you tell me where's Malang? They go deeply down Malang. I say, no, I don't want to do that. I want to see how far is it from the airport. And then they make it zoom out like this, zoom out, abstracted level. They zoom out. Okay, then they can see this. Then we can see Surabaya. Okay, Surabaya here, and then we drive Bromo here, and so on. Then we know. So if you go deeper, like here, Earth view, street view, satellite view. Okay, here. Okay. Even you go up, it becomes even more real. And this is like, sorry, this is 3D. Okay. It's a technology, of course, but it shows us very, very detailed. Okay. So that is CT. Okay. So that's the basic component. We call it basic processes of CT. Okay. There's another one paper that we published 2019, benefit of CT. So in this paper, we are trying to find what are the processes in entrepreneurship, in business process, and how does it relate to CT. So this is an illustration of business process model. If you see here, we know very, very clearly they have business fragment. Okay, it's one big pieces and then they break it down and they recognize as pattern. And they assign business goals to everything. They may be different business goal, but if this one and this one is the same business goal, they may apply, because it's the same pattern, they apply the same principle there, and they improve the business. So we can see the composition of the business process into small fragment, and each fragment is assigned their business goal. If they are the same, they probably be treated the same. All right. So, and then these places will combine into business service model and so on. So it's already proven. Okay. This is just a simple paper, a simple conference paper, but it's an index IEEE paper just to show there's a relationship between CT and business processes. And there's another one. This one we go a little bit more detail. Okay. Computational thinking as problem solving process, because a lot of things that we were asked, please show us a new process. Please, but our motivation is actually to empirically test the what they call the claim by Wing stated that you can pass to normal people, you can pass to whatever domain. So that's our motivation. Okay, so what we did here, okay, these are the CT framework, okay, based on one author here, and then from that CT framework we try to detail out, okay, one by one. Okay, and then what are the things that we found? This is an interview with an expert who deals with hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs. The entrepreneurs, okay, come and they want to write proposal. Okay, I think every one of us, okay, Pak Iqbal, okay, Pak Andy, Pak Ika, every one of us have this experience meeting with Wira Usaha. So Wira Usaha, they come and then I have problem. Can you help me? And then they will tell us, we give them form, they will write, and then we don't understand what they write. They know what they do. They know they really can make money. They really know what they do, but they don't actually know how to tell us the story. So we were like, okay. So when we did an interview to develop this paper, we interview an expert, which his and her job is to write whatever it is, the thing that is given by the Wira Usaha, right? To make clear. And we follow a standard form given by government under the Public-Private Research Network Program. But then we found problem. Not only us, it's run all over Malaysia. We are one center who is running it in the southern of Malaysia, in Johor. The rest, all the universities in Malaysia also doing it. And we have problem. The problem is, they don't actually know how to actually write in the form. If they write, even you put objective, they don't actually know what is objective. Even you put problem, they don't actually know problem. So it's like talking to them and then telling them, teaching them how to start doing research. So we were like, oh my God, so many of them, hundreds of them. You imagine in one of the year, we got the highest in Malaysia, 153 Wira Usaha company came to see us. The micro, small, medium enterprises. Okay, so this Wira Usaha, the company and the guy, the owner, and some of with their kids come explain. Some of them are very educated, easily for them to explain, but some of them, they're just normal. So what we did from the interview, we found out, number one, the problem is inability to elaborate on problem. They just say, for example, I just give example, this group, this Wira Usaha wants to peel pineapple, nanas, wants to peel the skin of pineapple. And then she actually used just knife. And then she said, I have problem. What's the problem? We use knife. So what's the problem? So every when she mentioned we use knife is not good. That's all. But we say, hey, but people also use knife. Anything, people use something to cut. So she knows the problem, but she don't know how to actually explain. But this is where we help them to elaborate the problem using decomposition, pattern recognition, and abstraction, one by one. Okay, and then they don't have SOP. Step number 1 is what? Step number 2 is what? Step number 3 is what? So we help them to design algorithm as SOP. The third one, it's helping them become aware and also help them to advocate about the benefits of city and its element. Okay, that is very challenging because if you know human, okay, so awareness is number 1, so challenging. All right, so we came up with an illustration. Okay, we actually it's from Nadali, but it becomes very clear or how we actually can help getting all this and put it in a way that information processing agent can work. For example, there's a problem here, and then we have our thought process. We specify into document, then we pass into a information processing agent, either machine or human. Okay, so don't worry. I think all of you have heard the role system analyst, SA, and business analyst. This is what they do. I'm actually a certified system analyst and business analyst. I think since 2000, 2008, 2009, I don't remember. So what I do, I go and meet client. They have issues in their company. I understand. I come out with the documentation. I pass it to a system analyst, and because I'm both, so I understand their language. So this SA will actually pass it to a coder. So the coder will code and design the system. All right. So that's normally we do. All of you who are taking system development, we gather the requirement and we design. Okay, this another one. This is very interesting. Okay, I've been teaching project management. Excuse me. For many years, because I'm a certified project manager. I was from industry before, and then one of the things I found, this is very interesting because it's like, I don't remember when, maybe 2000, 2002. At that time, I never heard about CP, but we know they are decomposition and so on. So what I did, related, for example, decomposition. If let's say we are required to do a project, the name of the project, for example, just example, intranet project. The first thing in project management, we need to do a work breakdown structure because it's big. We have to do that for many reasons. Scoping, time, costing, quality, HR, so many stakeholder reporting. We have 10 knowledge areas on that only. Okay, so what we do, we break it down. One thing we break down. Okay, so this is decomposition. I think I explained it. This is the third example. So we break it down into smaller pieces. Okay, decomposition. Later on, pattern. We break it down and you see, is there any similar pattern? If you look, if we go deeper, let's say one guy, normally what I do in class, one team, okay, they will, let's say there are 5 people. I ask one guy to do, what should you have in sales page? So he will have all this. What should you write in the sales page? Let's say she's doing alone, and then there's another guy also. What should you write in your homepage? What information should you put? At the end of the day, when I ask them to come and discuss, there are similar things. So this similarity is actually a pattern. Okay, so we have that. Even the images, we have that. Don't only talk about this as a system. Even the document which we submit for report, we need to put information about sales page. You can see. So if you are, I go specific on digital marketing. Okay, just last, when was that? Friday. Yesterday, I help my friend register a company, a business. Okay, so so before I tell him, before I set up, I say the name. Before you choose the name, of course, the name must be good. Before you choose, you have to find whether it's available in FB, Instagram, okay, and domain name. They say, oh, should I do that? I say yes. If you put one and then suddenly you you register company, you have to pay so expensive. Okay, here the PLT, it's like 1.5 million rupiah. The register for PLT. If you register for private limited, oh, that's expensive. It's like 3,000 ringgit, 10 million rupiah. So expensive. Okay, and then we cannot afford to put a name, and then suddenly there's no domain available. So you see, when you know all the things that should be there, so they are similar pattern. Okay. So here, if okay, just now pattern, and then let's add algorithm. How are we going to arrange this? So let's say we are talking about organizing this project into product. So there are product, we call it website design, the homepage design, the marketing pages, sales pages, and so on. That is based on the product. The other one, we can arrange, because algorithm is step by step, right? We can arrange, it's up to us actually, to arrange based on phases. So the phases here can be level 1, the concept. Level 2, website design. Level 3, website development. Level 4, rollout. Level 5, support. This is very, very time-based. Then you can actually put whatever it is, the step one by one. And it's very common in project. So many, all of us are doing project. Okay. So what happened? We actually put dependencies. We put which task to finish and can go to the other one. Which task can start with the other one together. Which task can finish and then then the other also finish. Or this one a little bit challenging. Which task cannot finish until the A starts. Okay. So these are part of the design of the algorithm. Okay. And we have been doing it. No surprise. Okay. Just a matter of practicing and make it very, very strong for us. Okay. Very interesting. And later on, what we do? Everyone knows what is this. It's Gantt chart. Okay. So we are putting into Gantt charts. So in this case, whatever we have, I go back. Whatever we have here, we actually put it as a task in the, for example, this is Microsoft Gantt chart. And every task must be related to each other. And how does it relate? It can be start and end, start and start, end and end, end and start. There are 4 things there. Okay. Very nice. Okay. Because this is where we learn about parallel, something we do together, or concurrent. Concurrent is actually different. Some people say it's the same, but it's actually different. If I explain, it's different. All right. So the other one is abstraction. You cannot go and talk to your, for example, information about your project, tell everything. So normally in project, we have what we call it project charter. So this document of project charter is somehow, we call it a summary of what the project is all about. Okay, so we have the project title, we have the project start and finish, what are the project manager, what are the objective, what are the approach, whose role, and actually there are more, whose signature, and what are the what they call, hope they will write. I hope the business will get better when we finish this project. So this is abstraction. So you can see, I use like already 3 kind of example. All right. First example on the data science part. Number 2 example on the what they call normal part, the first one, and then the third one is actually on the on this what they call project management. All right. So okay, this one is a little bit heavy, but I try to make it simple. Okay. How many minutes left I have, Dr. Inga?
It's about 15 minutes.
Okay, good. Just nice. All right. So my student just completed. I think just last week he got the Senate letter. So even the slide I changed from Najmi to Dr. Ahmad Najmi. Alhamdulillah. So I'm the supervisor for this what do you call this project. We call it computational thinking problem framing artifact. A little bit challenging. Computational thinking is actually framing. When we go into research, whatever it is we see problem, even when we look at the fundamental, we call it, let's say, the research ontology, how we look at the reality. What is the epistemology? Okay, I don't want to go into that. So academic. Okay, of course I'm academic, but I'm very practice based. Okay, so I don't want to go into that. Just to share with everyone here, don't worry about the terms. Okay, you have all the docent there to help you. Okay, and your senior to help you. And of course, Mr. Google. Okay, that's the easiest one. Okay, the most important thing, whatever it is that we put in our mind, we have our belief, so we frame it. Okay, so that is way is very challenging. Okay, so everyone has their way to frame. The reason why everyone is really saying design thinking is good, BMC is good, lean canvas is good. Even we have also our canvas, we call it CTIC, computational thinking innovation canvas. We also say it's good, but when it is matched to the way we are, the way our paradigm fits, then it makes a lot of sense. All right. So this topic is computational thinking problem framing artifact. What is artifact? In this case, artifact is something that we want to improve. Okay. So specifically, just now I mentioned there's a form which everyone all over Malaysia write for the wira usaha. They will write form. We improve the form, we put computational thinking element inside. Okay, and we come out with first version, second version, third version. Okay, let me go and show. All right, so what happened here? Because our belief is to connect between the knowledge base, which is research in a sense, which is something in the university lah, and the other one is what is being put in the real world environment. I'm a believer of what it is being studied in research is directly related to what can be solved outside. I'm a believer in that. Okay. Because I believe that the value, let's say in this case, we have the real world environment and we have the knowledge gap. We are building our premise on this kind of research. Okay. So we know already, my motivation, of course, lack of study on how CT can demonstrate transfer, okay, on what they call to the demonstrate transfer to from CS computer science to others, and then lack of empirical studies. All these are our me and my students dream. We are motivated by that. Okay, and what we did, we saw a lot of unsolved problem because the form keep on using every year. And I think after like 2019, 2015, they start improving it, but still they are solving in a matter of putting it very detailed, but not using a specific thinking style. Okay, so we believe that we are contributing. Okay, and then we did informal discussion. We built our RQ research question. We also do formal discussion, and what we found that there's an inability in problem framing and difficulty in explaining problem. So based on the paper just now, one of the journal paper, the draft paper which we are writing, we actually come out from the interview. We found that's a problem in that explaining the issues by wira usaha. Okay, so these are many of the research questions. Okay, no need to really understand everything of them, but what we want to do is how to design the artifact based on computational thinking process that will help SME in problem solving process. Okay, so that is our great main research question. Okay, so scope is we focus on micro, small, and medium company. The context of the guidebook will be the focus of the process innovation. So the guidebook is our artifact. Okay, we come out with the guidebook, and we already in the process of what they call copywriting. We already send a copywriting, just in the process of approval, and we focus on food manufacturing industry, because from our sample, last time I mentioned, just now I mentioned 153 companies, 80%, 85% is from food. Malaysia is, everyone wants to do food. I think in Indonesia also, because I think in Malaysia, Indonesia, we have a lot of good food. So everyone wants to do food. Okay, curry puff, popia, big popia, and then one of my entrepreneur wirausaha friend came. She wants to do a very small popia, very very small. You know, the one they fry, they put the prawn paste inside, because now they use hand, very difficult. So he managed to do his he found one machine for that. So the conception, what we want to do, we identify the problem. Okay, we identify the problem in this case. Okay, we decompose. That is the way we do. And then we gather, representing, analyzing, we find pattern. We generate, select, and plan. We abstracted, and we build some kind of steps. That is what we do. Okay, just now I mentioned system analyst, business analyst. This part is actually out of our scope. It's too big. Actually, originally, the PhD work we want to do here, if we get one student to do. But a lot of students, they feel this one is very challenging to do. What they want to do survey, do questionnaire, and get PhD. Okay, this is challenging because we use design science research. Very, very challenging. So anyway, this is the part that we do. The one that we pass to business specialists is the guidebook we pass to them. We don't do all these things. It's out of our scope. So the method, as I mentioned, we use design science research paradigm. I'm not sure whether everyone familiar. Not many people familiar with this, but the most near to this is action research. Very, very near to this is action research, which they find problem, and then they develop some intervention. This intervention, they go and test to solve the problem. They come out and reflect, and then they improve their tools, intervention. Just now, they go again, test again in the environment, real environment. They get feedback, and they say this is their action research result. They can do 2 rounds, 3 rounds, 10 rounds, whatever it is. Of course, it requires resources. But the best thing in UTM here, because I just joined a few years back the business school. For MBA, they use action research minimum of 2 rounds. Minimum of 2 rounds. First round, get intervention, feedback, intervention. The second round after intervention, they come out with their real proposal. Okay, so it's really the same as design science, but also there are differences. No need for me to tell. It's very, very long, but one of it, we call our things, the thing that we want to improve, as artifact. Okay, so a practical study to create applicable knowledge and provide an artifact for applying knowledge to the real world. This is design science by Hefner. Very powerful. I love it so much. So this is different paradigm for methodology. So all these are the steps for the methodology, design science research methodology by PEFA. We follow and we apply each level and each iteration. Okay, no need for me to tell the story all. It's very, very long. Even the slide for this is like 80 slides. So unless we go into very specific. So all this, for example, first level, looking at the document, public-private research network document, and we also do BMC. Okay, because we are dealing with entrepreneur, most of them are familiar with BMC. Everyone actually have idea what is BMC. Either is correct way or not, that's another way, another thing. So we define the objective of the solution. Later on, we do a lab-based design. Lab-based design study is we design with the help of experiment with real people. Okay, we are not simulating, we are real people. Okay, so this is our first instantiation is another word for artifact. This is our first artifact, okay, which actually we call it a CTIC, Computational Thinking Innovation Canvas. So it's, you see, it's like BMC, okay, because I'm very familiar, we are familiar with BMC. So we start with problem statement, and then we go, what is the objective, activities, and so on. So many outcome, you see, and then we have budget. If BMC here will be resources, revenue, here will be cost, and so on. Similar. Okay, of course, we have our algo over here. Normally in the middle is value proposition. Okay, so then what we do, we demonstrate. We demonstrate, and then we also do an expert review. That is first level. We do 5 rounds, 5 level. Okay, 5 level. So this is the first, the expert review. Okay, we did it. It's very challenging, because of COVID. Because of COVID, a lot of things delay. Actually, my students should finish maybe just like 5 semester. Okay, 5 or 4 semester, because we are doing like crazy, very, very fast. Suddenly COVID, cannot interview people, cannot do conduct and so on. 1 year, just, but okay lah, alhamdulillah, everything finished. So we learn a lot, all right? So this is expert review. And then second level, we did also the same. Okay, second round. And then this is our second version of our, you know, the canvas just now, it becomes a guidebook. This is our guidebook, garis panduan proses penyelesaian masalah. Okay, so every each of it, okay, we mentioned. That's the second. And then later on, from that, we come out with our third version. So all these are actually based on computational thinking. Imagine, all based on computational thinking. So we put the element of decompose, especially to learn the problem, and then we put the element of pattern to know where are problems of similarity, and we go into abstraction to know the higher view, lower view, and also what we call it the step-by-step algorithm. Okay, so let's see one by one algorithm there, and then we identify pengenalan corak, the pattern. Okay, so the conclusion, this is actually what we come out. Okay, garis panduan penyelesaian masalah. Okay, all these are the things lah that we do one by one. We do it in bahasa Melayu. Okay, bahasa Malaysia, because what they call, most of the small medium wirausaha, they are not really good in English. Okay, so we make it very simple for everyone. Okay, so we tell them what is this, process innovation is what, we put what is computational thinking, diagram like that. Okay, and then one by one, and then we tell them even how to use flowchart. Don't be surprised, so many people don't know how to use flowchart. Okay, they don't, normally the start, of course, start and end. This one, they always mix up. Okay, they always mix up. Okay, what is output, input? We will like, okay, and then when they are decision, they don't put this yes over here or no over here. They don't put that. Okay, or go to another process, they don't put that. They don't actually know what is this, so they thought only just circle or square. Okay, so that's the basic. You want to learn algorithm, go to this. Okay, so like this, one by one. Okay, number one, ringkasan awal, decompose, pattern, and then we decompose again. Okay, and then we go the algorithm, and we come out with the suggested. Okay, so all these are the third version. And actually finish PhD, but we feel this one we can improve a lot. We are going to improve again, because I'm applying it to one of the company which just now I mentioned. It's actually a horse farm. Horse, kuda. So I'm going into that very, very deep, and we are, what do you call, we got full support from the owner. We got full support from some of the sponsor, and we are going to give a very high value, inshallah. Okay, so all this one is because we are going into food. You can see input bawang merah, output bawang yang telah dipotong. You see, pengeluaran sehari how much, and then 100 kg increase to 300 kg, Previously it's 18 hours, now it's 6 hours. Jumlah pekerja, how many worker? From 3 to 1. This is what they want. This is the thing that they want. So normally we ask Wirausaha, what do you want? We want to increase sales. Okay, how much? For me, normally I go directly. How do you get customer? They say, I call. Okay, do you have 100 lists? I think so. Okay, how much you want to make sales from that 100? Then maybe 20. Okay, you want 20? Okay, then we learn. I go into that. Of course, we believe in 4 out of 5. Sorry, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 5. So it's like 4 people will reject you. 80% will reject you. Okay, so these are the achievement. Alhamdulillah, we finished that. So these are the things that we contribute. We develop the method and the instantiation. We develop all this. Okay, and all these things that, of course, no need to know lah. Work system methodology, no need for me to explain. Work system method, work system theory, and so on. There's a lot of complicatedness there. Okay, but the most important thing, my message is to tell you whatever it is we develop from practice level, exploration, practice up to the research, it's really, really good to use CT. Okay, so conclusion and how to move forward. CT pillars, we believe CT pillars are very natural-like for learners, especially particularly for entrepreneurship domain. So if Wirausaha comes, don't just talk to them. Don't tell them city. Don't tell them city. We don't tell them this is city actually. We just tell them, okay, what do you think? What your project is all about? Okay, can we break it down? So they do break it down, and then they identify one by one. Once they do everything, sort, identify pattern. How do you want to pitch to people? How do you want to? If you talk to CEO, how do you want to say? If you talk to worker, engineer, how do you want to say? At the end of the day, we say, congratulations, Pak Wirausaha. They say, why you congratulate? Because you already, what they call graduate as a city. They were like, what? I didn't do computer. I didn't use any computer. Okay, that is one. So we call it unplug. This is unplug. If a plug version, that means you need to go and code. This is unplugged version. All right. Number 2, the thought process could provide better thinking skills and produce systematic action. This is what we want. Because when we pass to somebody, maybe a business system analyst, we need to have that. Okay, the biggest problem, if Wirausaha don't have this, do you know what's the problem with them? First, of course, they cannot make good sales. My point here is they need to apply consultant. So consultant will make a lot of money. I like to become consultant. I make a lot of money, but these people, these Wirausaha have to learn. Otherwise, we solve some small problem, and we want to ask for payment also not so good. We go for big one. So if they do this systematic action, then we go to the next level, which is develop system for them. Okay. So further experiment, optimizing the use of horses for high impact team building. This is the thing I mentioned. So we are doing it. Okay. I'm very, very busy with this. Very, very busy actually. So it's like non-stop. Yesterday I also sleep like 4 in the morning. This morning also I sleep. I woke up very, very early, 4 in the morning, something 5 in the morning, because need to go into this, because people, business people, Wirausaha, they want to make sure time is used the best way. All right, Alhamdulillah, that's all from me as a sharing for CT for entrepreneurship. So I hope it give benefit, but please, the best thing to know more. Okay, I expect questions. So I would like to, I can really put into perspective and try to answer. Thank you very much, Dr. Ingang. I pass back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Zaidi. Nice, very massive acknowledgement from you, and several keywords that I mentioned here. Allow me to a little bit summarize about this lecture. You mentioned about problem solving and effectively effective and information processing. That's the first shocked me. It's could be implemented in all domains. That's why you put it in entrepreneurship perspective. And also the slide about problem background. That's my professor said about the lack of studies and lack of empirical studies when she show about my proposal about service dominant logic. That's the time she rejected my proposal and moved to another issue. But you proceeded into next step and then go further into your research with your students. That's quite very good. And also the how it is developed from 4 pillars of city from Professor Wing into city framework by Kaleloglu et al. In 2016. And also I'm curious about your design research, your methodology, and all of the procedures. It's amazed me personally. And also you mentioned about the last thing about unplugged system. That's the simple way how small medium enterprise can learn about the computational thinking. So now the session of question and answer. I give first moment to the lecturer, and maybe sometime I'm using bahasa. Allow me to do it. And
bisa.
Okay. And also students, if you have any question you want to speak in bahasa Indonesia, that's totally no problem. Pertama mungkin untuk ada dosen yang ingin bertanya, dipersilakan.
Pak Ingkang, I would like to ask a question to Dr. Ramesh.
After Pak Agung, it will be me, Pak Ingkang.
Okay, the first one is Pak Agung, and the second one is Pak Iqbal. Please.
Okay, it is very interesting, Dr. Ramesh, to about your presentation related to computational thinking. Currently, I'm teaching business analysis, and I got the correlation between the business analysis processes and the computational thinking. And I would like to know how you teach your students in a. I heard a little bit about the business analysis part, but if you can elaborate more, how to teach them to for business student, how to apply this computational thinking in the business analysis processes. Thank you, Dr. Ramesh.
Okay. Thank you, Pak Agong, for the question. So it's really good to hear because we need to implement something directly to our business student. Okay. So as I mentioned, for me, when I actually approach business student, they actually have very good understanding of the concept of what they want to do. Normally, I have that. But when it goes into detail, they always feel like I don't know how to put in a step. I don't know where should I start first. I don't know which one should be prioritized. So all these are actually algorithm. So we have one I think you heard there's one word, they call it algorithmic thinking. There's another word. There's one professor from MIT, if I'm not mistaken. He mentioned about algorithmic thinking. So it's actually similar to CT, but he actually explained it in a different way. So what happened for me, how I actually put this information or knowledge for non-computing, I call it for non-computing, whether they are business, their education, social sciences. Firstly, of course, everybody must start with value. So just to share with you, in 2000, if I'm not mistaken, 2014 or 15, my department was the first department in information systems to put in chapter 2, in chapter 2, to put compulsory BMC. You imagine, for computing student. So people say, why you put computing student BMC? It's not computing what they call model canvas. It's business model canvas. It's not computing model canvas. So many people disagree. But I tell them, no need to go deeper into that, but it's compulsory for them first to know the value of what they do and who are the customer. That's very common. The first thing they need to do. And everything else, once they know, for example, about the customer, what they call the segment, which computing people don't do, okay, they directly focus on the VP. They say it's for student. So they develop system for student. We don't actually know for what student, blah, blah, blah. We don't go into the detail. So for business students, the best thing about business students, they have the understanding of all these BMC. It's common for them. It's like basic. They need to do. The only thing is when we go for step-by-step solution. So that's the only challenge, but it's not what we call like something that they cannot do. So what I actually tell them, I never tell them that I'm teaching CT to them. Never tell them. So what they do, I say, okay, what's in project management? So most of them, they are not computing people or engineer. They are not engineers. So I tell them, okay, what's the project you want to do? Okay, this one. Can you break down? What's the problem? They put the problem. Can you break down? So the breakdown. So they use whatever method they do. They use Ishikawa diagram, the fishbone method. They use the 6Y, 5Y, 9Y, whatever it is. They use the work system theory. If they are master student, they use that. Otherwise, the simplest one is the fishbone diagram and Pareto 2080. So they break down. Then we know the cause and effect. So, okay, that's already good. Say, okay, and then you imagine in the bone of the fish, there are things, they come to me, sir, hey, this one, here also got, this one also got, here also got, this one also got. I said, okay, so what's the point? Yeah, should I just delete and just put, I said, why you want to delete? If you have, let's say you have 4 girlfriends, one girlfriend over here, okay, similar style, you cannot delete your girlfriend. Right, I'm just joking to them. They were like laughing. I said, but my analogy is you cannot delete your girlfriend. Those are your girlfriend. Okay, so make sure they are in different places. Okay, then you can meet them. Say, oh, say why you don't delete? Because they actually have similar pattern, but they are running in different places. If you treat one way, one method to solve that, you may get maybe 90% optimization, maybe. Because if everyone suka merajuk, sikit-sikit you say nenek menangis, okay? All 4 of them. So maybe they share the same similarity. Maybe they like flowers or chocolate. You bring 4 flowers, 4 chocolate, solve the problem. So they, okay. So from that, they identify the pattern. Then later on, we call it a priority. Which one they want to solve first. So they put in priority, they discuss, they brainstorm. And then later on, this priority, if in computing, we use weightage, like the analytical hierarchical programming. Okay, I don't want to say that. Just simple one. Put weightage, which one you have to solve first. Okay, then the best thing is they will, I will solve this, number 2, number 3, they will debate. And then later on, they only solve 3 things. Decompose, pattern, and what they call the other one is step algorithm. And the 4th one, now you prepare a presentation to me. In 30 seconds, what you want to solve? They, sir, how can we do that? Can. So that's abstraction. They go up. So pitching technique. They implement pitching technique. That's what I do. And later on, I tell them, you know, you learn one thing today. I say, we learn a lot of things. I say one thing, computational thinking. What? We never use computer. You see, so I say, I show you an unplugged way of learning CT. So they were like, okay, because if I directly go and ask you to put, for example, to use coding, even visual coding, you tell me, sir, I don't have basic. Sir, I don't have knowledge. Sir, I don't have. That's always, you know, people say, sir, can you give us maybe next week? I say, no, you have to learn today. Sir, please. Next week start. I said, no, you have to learn today. So because they are not what they call confident. students have their knowledge, and the millennial, they are so resourceful. You just tell them, they will do. They will find whatever it is. Ask them to do brainstorm. Okay. You want to be noisy. You want to write, use paper. Okay. You want to use Delphi. It's up to you. They will ask, sir, can I do this? I said, I ask you to do brainstorm. I don't care how you do. So they will do. They will find. And later on, then you tell, congratulations. Like the Wirausaha, I also tell them. So they will, wow, now I got. Now, you know what happened afterwards? They become like, oh, now I know. Computational thinking. I'm good. Or something like that. I say, it's up to you. So that's how I do, Pak Agong.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Ramesh.
Thank you. Move to Pak Iqbal.
Pak Iqbal.
Please.
Thank you, Pak Inggang. Dr. Zaidi, Pak Zaidi. Actually, my question is not about testing you about something, that you have to answer, but I'd like to open up a few, or perhaps a question for us to keep in mind and to reflect. And keep in mind to ourselves that we as an academic must be progressively thinking about changes. Now, I'm quite interested about how these types of technology, that computer, you said that we at the business department, for instance, would also be benefited by this type of learning and engaging to some techniques that you are using. But we have to understand that not every people can perhaps be really welcome about some changes, particularly when it comes to certain types of knowledge, right?
Correct.
When we as an academic tend to learn about something that's been embedded for at least 20, 30 of some 11-ish years, we tend to be so, what do you call that? We experience silo. Now, how can we diminish that from your perspective? Because I'm quite sure that many of, not many, but one or two of your colleagues would perhaps experience the same situation. And how do we diminish our silo and try to shift to something that's very new for us, very relevant, very new, but on the other hand, we also have some limitations, particularly when you have some limitations in order to engage or learn something that's very new and very uncommon. Perhaps that's one of my question for you, and for us to think and reflect about that question, for to keep in mind for us as an academics, that we have to move on progressively. That's all, I think, Pak Zaidi, from me.
All right. Dr. Iqbal, I think your question is really powerful because, frankly speaking, UTM is my 6th place of work, my number 6. Okay. And I've been helping a lot of businesses. And one of the things that really challenging for us as academicians is to convince our fellow friends, even next door. Okay. The competition of putting one thing and saying that that's the best. Okay. I mean, not to say competition itself, but the way of putting one thing and that's to say that the best, it's really not something that we should practice, because we believe in having ourselves as a half cup, half full cup, half cup. So one of the things that I really love to whenever I start, if I'm a professional trainer, so whenever I do training, there's one thing that I do is actually trying to bring them in one area which everyone is comfortable of being vulnerable. Everyone can actually share. Okay, they will share whatever it is. I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy with this, and so on. And then we get one agreement. Okay, that agreement is where everyone has universal understanding of what we should treat ourselves, which is the thing that I share just now. It is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent that survive. People who are in universities are so intelligent, but it is the one that is the most adaptable to change. So even I can share with you, oh, alamak, there's one book. I think I don't have the book here, but this one book, hold on, let me check. Sambil I cari, saya cerita. This one book also talking very deeply on changes, which it's not only happening in what they call maybe, for example, around your friend Dr. Iqbal, but it happens to all the academicians. And these are the things which we cannot live, or we cannot just make it like become a habit to our students. Okay, because in Malaysia now we have issue people finishing their secondary school, they don't want to go to university. Okay, and students, what they call university students, especially engineers, they come out, they graduate. Even yesterday I talked to my fellow engineers. I asked them how I mean, they are owners, they are rich people, they own, how much you give salary to engineer. If they knew, maybe we give like 3,000 maybe 10 million rupiah. So I say, oh, that's quite good. If they are really good, and then we go up lah. So one of the things that very challenging is people go for Grab riding. Okay, service delivery. Okay, whatever it is, they can earn so much. They can earn so much. So these kind of things, actually, we in academic, if I talk to my friend say, "Hey, don't say lah, that one is money. We are talking about knowledge. We are talking about knowledge." I said, okay, I understand. But one thing that I want to I tell my friend, okay, I tell my friend, knowledge is knowledge. But I show you this. This is the thing that I show to them. Okay, people work in Singapore. Okay, we like Singapore, very near. Okay, how much they earn? A lot of money they earn. Okay, 400,000 Malaysians are working in Singapore, 6,000 to 9,000.
Sorry, Dr. Ramesh, we haven't seen yet.
Oh, sorry, you. Oh, I wrongly share my slide. Oh, so sorry. I thought I share my screen. I share my PowerPoint. I should be sharing my screen. Okay, let me just this one. Okay.
Yes,
so
it's on screen.
All right, and then just recently, one Malaysian earns 43,000. So people say 6 months in Australia, 43,000. I said, no, it's not 6 months. He has been there for 6 months, but he earns 43,000 ringgit per month. 8,000 Australian to 10,000 Australian. That's a lot of money. Okay, I'm not talking about money is very important in life, the utmost important. Of course, it's important. We need that. Anything we need money, but I'm not talking about that. Whenever my friends say, you always talk about this. No, I want you to challenge yourself. You think you sit down in a university with all the electricity, the computer, student, you don't teach. Maybe you don't have enough people to teach. You don't. Maybe it's holiday, three months break. You think the money, the government is not paying anything? So they were like, okay, what's your point? I said, my point is, if we want to give whatever it is, if you want to give the value to these people, we need to challenge ourselves. So Pak Iqbal question is actually very important, because here, hold on, let me share again. Suddenly it drops. Okay, I always talk to all my friends, particularly about this. The great aim of education is not knowledge, but action. This is my belief. Or anyway, the background is my hometown, Mount Kinabalu. This place is my hometown in Sabah. Yeah. Very nice place. All right. So even this is one of the most I learned a lot from Jim Rohn. I attended his talk. I mean, he already passed away, but I have all. One of the things that I learned a lot is don't let your learning lead to knowledge. So our PhD student and our undergraduate student, okay, and our fellow friend, we have to tell them nicely. We need to learn and not to stop at learning. We need to apply, because our students are looking at us and keep on saying, you know, when we open up a safe space, the student will say, sir, you know, some lecturer, they just talk. They don't know anything. You imagine, how do you feel? If they trust you, they tell you the story, you cannot tell the name of the person. But, and then you ask deeply, what do you mean? You know, they come, they ask, they requested us to do assignment. I say, yeah, of course they requested you to do assignment. But when we ask for advice on what to do, for example, designing apps, okay, so they don't advise. They said, you go and learn your own. So there are things which we need to show that we are able to do. Up to date, up to the standard of millennials. They are difficult. They have everything at the end of their, finger. They just key in anything. The thing with this millennial, okay, why I'm going into millennial, because they are actually our students now. They will actually always say that we are not as knowledgeable as them. They challenge us. Believe me, I think you feel that. They keep on challenging us. So what I always tell them, I challenge them. You know everything, you know. You click, you know everything. But I challenge them to take one action. Take one thing that you want to do, make it happen. They don't do. They feel, oh, sir, that is very risky. No, sir, that is not suitable for us, because I study, Mr. Google say, everything is Mr. Google say. So, you know, one of the things that I reflect that is academic. Because academic, every time I write paper, Mr. X say, Mr. Y say, Mr. X say, even PhD presentation. I always ask my student, hey, come on lah, chapter 2 is not an essay of what is the literature. Wait, what is your review, your critical, where is your stand? So when I say, my stand, you know, sir, I don't like this, then that's what I want to hear. Why you don't like him? So that thing creates different. Because once you disagree, that means you are not comfortable. Once you are not comfortable, you need to find something that gives you what they call the fact to move on. Maybe it doesn't matter what is the ontology for you, what is the epistemology. You want to go and get data quantitatively, or maybe interview. It doesn't matter, as long as philosophers, we try to find the real answer behind it. So that's the thing, Dr. Iqbal. I always give last 2 weeks I give talk to 46 new lecturers. They just started 1 year. So I started the session. I asked them, what do you want to tell me? No one to tell anything. Then I started telling that this is a very what they call secure place. Everyone, I respect vulnerability. Don't worry. Then I tell them my story. So they started telling everything. They said, okay, you see that as a problem or what? Yeah, it's a problem. Then do you think worth solving? No, not worth solving. Leave it to university to solve something. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to focus on this. I get my associate professor, senior lecturer, as I get my professor. That's all. So you see the mindset. So I challenge them. In 10 years, is there any word of lecturer in the world? I challenge them. Do you think there's any docent or lecturer in this world? The post, is it still exists? They were like so quiet, look at me. Sir, we have to think. Yeah, think lah. So you think, maybe 1 year you want to see me? No, okay. So I challenge, because we as a guru, as a docent, as a teacher, people say teacher doesn't mean must know everything. Of course, we don't know everything. 100 students maybe combined, compared to us, we are so small. But there are things that people expect us to do. For example, we never go and learn swimming from a person who doesn't know how to swim. How can we swim? There's a concept of, can a lecturer teach entrepreneur? He's not even an entrepreneur. I believe I can learn from people who are not entrepreneur, because they give me motivation. They give me something that can change my mind. But if it's about doing real experience business, I go to my business mentor. Something like that. So that's my understanding. I hope it's answering, Dr. Iqbal.
Okay, thank you. And it's interesting that you said you're not an entrepreneur. So why do we teach entrepreneurs? One of my answer to that type of question was few years back. A prosecutor and judges at the tribunal, yeah, they weren't experienced in the jail as well. They were not convicts. So that's perhaps similar to that statement of yours. Why do you teach entrepreneurship when you are not an entrepreneur? So that's the way how I answered those type of questions, Pa.
Correct. Yeah. It's good. That's really good.
Okay, thank you, Pak Iqbal. Thank you, Dr. Zaidi. We move to one last question from docent, and then if you have a time, we move to a couple questions from students.
No problem.
One more question,
yes,
Dr. Enggang.
Yes, one question from docent.
Assalamualaikum, Professor Zaidi. Great to see you. And big thanks for your time in your very busy day to prioritize our event today.
Okay.
Yeah. The knowledge that you are transfer to us is very interesting, especially how to predict future for our business. But the other thing is we dealing with uncertainty of human behavior. So how we control of human being cognitive bias when seeing in under uncertainty situation like today in what global economical.
All right.
Yes, that is. Thank you.
Okay, so actually, of course, we are not able to convince everyone. It's very difficult. It's very challenging.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think one of the things that from my experience in getting funding, okay, when I was the director of my center, when I was the manager and director for Entrepreneurship Center, we as a team, we go and find fundings from outside. So to convince them, it's very challenging because they have a mindset of, for example, can you really develop entrepreneur? Is it really important? Is it really true that university can develop entrepreneur? So what I did was to really go into the behavioral bias or the mind bias, cognitive bias of them. I go up to the level of some agreement. Okay, that means when I negotiate, when I present to them, I try to present up to the level. For example, I give one example. Let's say I do a simulation now. I ask everyone to think about a car. Okay, stop thinking about the car. Think about a red car. Okay, stop thinking about the red car. Now think about a red sport car. All right. So what I did just now was actually asking everyone to think about from a car to a red car to a red sports car. And when I ask people to answer, 90% of them will say the red car is Ferrari, red sport car. Why is it? Because there's a universal agreement. So this universality creates the power to us. For example, when I present to people in to get funding, I will tell them I have talent in university. Do you not believe that the best talent is from university? They cannot say. They will like, no, I believe. So they believe me. So that is what I do. I bring them to a level where they believe in that thing. But if you directly say that, oh, we can do this, do that, they will like, give me your testimonial. They want to see that. Give me your history, success story. And if it's my first time, it's impossible to do. I cannot do the success story. The other one, what I did, I leverage other people. I go and get somebody who can tell me that my center is the best center to work with because they achieve something out of it. So I get somebody to like recommend, not to say recommend. Together he came, he actually gave me. So Dr. Wiata, you got my CV, right? You see, that's why I put in front of my CV all these people who talk about me. I put there. And then these people will actually give some kind of idea when people read. It gives us a new level. People say, oh, I want to see this guy. I want to see this guy. Something like they are looking forward for that. Because whatever it is that we do, I always believe if we cannot convince everyone, but number one, when we do, we have to believe we can convince ourselves. if let's say, oh, I don't know whether I can do it, we have doubt, that's challenging. So that's, I think most of us, like me, my basic degree is physics, and then I went into IT, computing, and I don't feel like this psychology things, the human perception towards me, social, I don't think it's important last time. But now I feel it's important, but we must find something which we are able to have control a little bit lah. I mean, if you have control a lot, it's much better. So that's why if I ask my entrepreneurship student to pitch, I will also teach them how to do negotiation. So when negotiation is not about talking only, negotiation is about asking questions. So when the guy answer, we trap them. They were like, oh, okay. So we agree. I say, you say, I ask you, did you not believe that UTM can come out with very talented student? We have talented student. It's proven. So yeah, I believe. So where can we start our discussion? They were like, we start on a different level. That's how I do. Yeah, it's not working for all. It's not working for all, but at least I know who are the people that I can reject earlier. So we go back to the principle: fail cheap, fail early. So if he doesn't like me, it's okay. If he doesn't like my presentation, I can improve. But if he doesn't like me personally, then we know earlier we can reject. Yeah. So then we can focus on things which are important. Yeah, because our resources very difficult is time. We have only 24 hours. Yeah. So that's my answer, Dr. Yat.
Absolutely interesting. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Zaidi. So we move to some questions from students.
Okay.
Ada pertanyaan dari mahasiswa, dipersilakan. First question come from Made Bagus Dwi Andiana. Boleh pakai bahasa Inggris atau bahasa Indonesia, dipersilakan.
Baik, terima kasih. Okay, thank you for the chance. My name is Made Baguswatnyana, and I'm a second year student from Business Administration, major in from via UB. Now, I noticed that an entrepreneur must be able to read business opportunities. My question is, what happens if entrepreneur can read business opportunities, and what is the solution that Mr. Ramesh can give for us from this problem? Thank you.
All right, thank you. So business opportunity, correct? Business opportunity. What happened if the person couldn't read or couldn't sense business opportunity? Okay, so we have. I have a training. I call it using senses to understand. So, for example, last time I did one training. Before we go, for example, I got actually a question from my business coach. So my business coach told me, okay, go to one place, to a shop, physical shop, and tell me what are the opportunities there. Okay, so what I did, before I enter, I tell my team, you are my eye, you are my ear, you are my nose, you are whatever it is. So everyone have their sense. And people must be given the focus to, for example, let's say, if we go into a shop, close the mouth. Close mouth. We use our sense. Listen. For example, if you go into a shop, it's very quiet. It's not, maybe no people, but your eyes see a lot of people. Then you know that kind of environment. Then you smell a lot of coffee. You can only hear barista making coffee. Okay, so what kind of opportunity you can find over there? Maybe you go to one place, very, very noisy, and no one actually feel like it's bad because they like that environment. Okay, so everything that we go, we get the senses out of it. We get some sense out of it. So this sense actually gives us going to the next level. So going to the next level, we need to find from our senses what are needed. So we have a lot of tools. For example, you can use the value proposition canvas, VPC. I think the simplest one to actually identify the customer segment job to be done. The concept of job to be done, JTBD, okay, is very famous. Okay, Ulrich and the late Professor Christensen mentioned about job to be done. You understand what job, functional job that they do, social job that they do, and also emotional. We call it their own emotional job that they do. If they go to a shop, okay, and they feel like that shop expensive, but they like to go, they are the people, maybe they like people to see them as somebody who has money. So all these are things we have to learn from what they call the behavior. Okay, so that is just one. The other one is trending, the trend. So you cannot sense everything at one time, Mandi. So the good thing is don't do your work alone. Okay, don't do your work alone. My suggestion is always first, do you know the principle of, I forgot the name. Okay, let me just give you, there are two principles there. One is actually bird in hand. Bird in hand, that means you have burung on your hand, and this burung is only helping you if you follow them. You cannot see another burung and then you go and catch and then this burung will pass away. Yang dikejar tidak dapat, yang dikendong berciciran, they call it. So these kind of things are very important. What resources you have, you start with that. Okay, so I learned this principle from one of a very successful entrepreneur. Okay, he's my coach. He actually he's not in university. He's not even graduated. He's only primary 6 12 years old, graduates from school, but he earns more than average people. Like, let's say you imagine that kind, maybe you say maybe he earns the most is maybe 10 million rupiah, 30,000 ringgit, but she earns 15, okay, 50 million for her. Okay, so what she did, she told me that she doesn't have a lot of ideas, but once she have the idea, she will do it betul-betul buat. Gigih, fokus, dia akan buat. Tabrak. She even told me to use the word tabrak because her coach is from Indonesia. Tabrak. I say, what is tabrak? Tabrak. Langgar saja. Say, okay, because you believe, as long as it's not wrong. Okay, so those just a few. There are so many ways of doing it, but that is what I normally do. So believing in yourself is so important. And because you can see the vision, other people cannot see. So people who cannot see, it doesn't mean they don't want, it doesn't mean they don't want to listen to you, but you need to tell clearer what is your vision, what you need to do, what you need to become, and so on. Okay, is it answering your question, Made?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ramesh, for the answer.
Welcome. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Zaidi. The second question is from Mufida. Are you still there, Mufida? Or to Ilham Prayoga.
Okay, Ilham. Silakan, Ilham.
Yeah.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thanks for the opportunity. Before I ask, I want to introduce myself. My name is Ilham Prayoga. I'm from Brawijaya University, majoring Business Administration, batch 2020. I want to ask for your presentation before, if there is an advantage, there must be a weakness, of course. What is the weakness of computational thinking that have you talked about before? Thank you, Saram.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Ilham, for the question. Very good question. All right, so every part of we design, there must be there must be another thing which requires, we call it improvement. Okay, so there are strength, and there are, some people say there are strength, there are weaknesses. I don't call it that way. I call it there are strength, there are limitations. Okay, so the limitation of CT, actually one thing, like our question just now from our lecture, is related to the use of computational, the word computational. Some may not be comfortable with the use of computational. Okay, so different kind of thinking style people introduce, almost like if you Google, you can find so many kinds: strategic thinking, critical thinking, creative thinking, whatever it is, mathematical thinking, engineering thinking. Oh, so many. Okay, so these kind of things may produce, and some people may not be looking forward for it. That's why if I introduce, I don't say the word. Okay, number two, the limitation of it. If let's say, but this one can be strength and limitation, but I'll just see it from perspective of limitation. Let's say you are really good in business processes, really good, okay, and you apply CT, you have to decomposition, you have all the patterns, trends, patterns that you found, you have managed to put algorithm right, you have to actually, you already have a very good abstraction level of seeing the generic and very detailed. Okay, but you don't know how to code. You don't know how to code. So you're like, I don't know how to code. This will be a problem. It doesn't mean a problem. But limitation-wise, if only you, the person who are required to do the job up to the level of making, we call it automation. Because once you design, we want to see automation. We put into an agent, everything automate. If that one is not possible for you, okay, but you are the only person to need to do that, I suggest you to learn. Okay, because a lot of ways now people make it simple for people, for non-coder to learn coding. They are what they call the drag and drop for programming. You can actually drag and drop as long as you know the rule. For example, if this one happen, yes or no, yes, it goes to this one. You know that. That means you know the algorithm. You develop. You know the rules, conditions. If this one happen, it goes like this. If that one happen, it goes like that. All right. So that one you can learn. But let's say if you have another person who do the code. Okay. The person who do the code and you are doing specifically on business, understanding the business processes. So you implement CT, you understand, you come out with the whatever document that you want. Another person who know how to code, you must bridge between this, but I don't use it bridge. There must be an overlap between two of you. Okay, based on one professor who I mentioned just now, MIT, algorithmic thinking, he mentioned that computational thinking is actually, or algorithmic thinking is actually connection between two. It's not, it's like overlapping. You must overlap. So if you have a system here and you have a system here, or you have a person here who knows how to code and you yourself very good in business, make sure both of you understand your language. Okay, so must understand. You cannot separate. You cannot just take some document from, let's say your document, you pass it to him, and then he will like, yeah, I don't want this format. This is, let's say, like last time we learned to use UML, Unified Modeling Language. Okay, so we use UML. We have our sequence diagram. We have our activity diagram. We put over there. So the coder will see, okay, now I understand. So there must be some knowledge representation tools. Okay, so those are the things that bind both of you together. Okay, so you see, now you know about API. People talk about API. API here, API there. You want to download this, you want to connect, you buy the API. API is where application programming interface, it connects between 2 or 3 different systems. So maybe this system, which you want to get data from them, they provide API. No need for you to access the whole thing. You're just connecting and learning how the API works. You have to follow their format or schema, whatever this structure, then you can access to the system. So that's why now a lot of things are real-time updating. You go into Kayak, you go into Traveloka, all these, they directly, because they connect to each other. So system-wise, they are connection. Human also, they are connection. Okay, so if you look it as a limitation, okay, it will be a little bit challenging. But if you take it as something that an advantage for you to go forward, I think it's really good. Yeah, I'm very positive. I'm very positive, but I'm also looking at risk. The risk that I take normally, if I apply something, if I feel like I don't see the future, if the future is not worth going, I don't want to do. If I see this opportunity and they help people to think better, I help. Yeah, that's what I do. Okay, Ilham, is it okay?
Okay, thanks, sir. It's really great for me for.
Alhamdulillah.
Thank you, Dr. Zaidi. This is the last question from Mufida.
Okay.
Please.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Mufida Aulia. I come from Brawijaya University, major administration business. And I want to ask a question. The question is, what happens if we can master the computational thinking skill? Thank you.
Again, can you repeat? If you cannot or you can?
We cannot.
You cannot. Okay. All right. Actually, it's like when we introduce design thinking. If you see, the first thing that when people, the first thing I learned about design thinking when I was in Stanford. Okay, I was sent to Stanford to take STVP, to learn from Stanford ST Technology Venture Program. Okay, so I was there and I learned from a few guru. okay, Tina Silik, the creative guru, and a few others. One thing I learned about design thinking is what they call to open up. Let's say I give one example, very specific example. If you do design thinking, you have to make something, make or draw. Okay. So some people, when you ask them to draw, they will draw. They don't want to draw. One thing, I'm not good in drawing. I'm not good. Okay, that's something. The other guy will draw like crazy. 30 seconds, he will draw like a caricature. So nice. Another guy, if you ask him to draw maybe a girl, a sports woman, sports girl, this guy can draw very well. This guy just circle and so on. But when we look at each other at that stage, my friend was drawing like crazy. I was like simple. Another guy was like very, very simple. And then we were like laughing. Oh, your drawing is like that and so on. And then the coach told us, it doesn't matter whatever that you draw, as long as you can tell the meaning of it. So even my friend who drew so nice, he said, I get your point, coach. I said, please tell me what's my point. So he mentioned, it doesn't mean I have to draw like so much effort, because it's just a waste of my energy, because I need to draw more. I need to draw more. So that means there are minimum effort which is required. So that is actually a change of mindset. So I changed. I was like, oh, okay. So I thought design thinking, I have to be very good in design. He said it doesn't matter as long as you can tell and people can differentiate between male, female, an arrow left arrow, right arrow. You want to write Billy Ayer Tandas toilet, whatever it is. Okay, because they provide so many things there, color and so on. So it's no such thing as we cannot, because it's all up to whether we are open into doing it. Okay, but for city, the most challenging one for city until now, which I'm struggling to do, is to, not to say to prove, maybe prove, but to provide some evidence, which it can be very useful up to the level, like for example, like our Dr. Alex Osterwelder come out with the BMC. Okay, US Pino and his supervisor and he himself come out with BMC. Very successful. Everyone is doing it, using it. Okay, but city, if you see who is using it, the person who is doing it are teachers in school. It's not what they call entrepreneur. So entrepreneur still not clear. Still not clear. If you look at it, I'm not sure. That's why I don't use the word city. I say logically how to make them think, decompose, identify the pattern, and then start putting in the sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until Z, and later on also tell me what is the higher level, what is the inside level, the deeper level. So because that's the risk that I don't want to lose these people. Otherwise they say, especially those who are elder age, they just leave it like that. I teach teacher, because they attend a course. The course name is Computational Thinking and Computer Science. So they attend. They said, Prof, I was a computer graduate, but that was 20 years ago. Sorry, I don't think I can help. I don't think I can. Something like that. I said, hey, no problem. As long as you are here. They were like, hey, this lecturer so good. So I cannot say, oh, you go back. No. Because once they are there, a little bit, they will understand. 5 days, 40 hours training for them. So it's because we do it like half year for 150 people. 40 hours training, Monday to Friday. So it's a long time with them. They do assignment until they understood, oh my God, this is what city is all about. So yeah, so actually cannot do or can do, you can practice, Mufida. If you can do, you practice. No need to practice all. You try bit by bit. Maybe you can start today. You go back to your room and you feel you have suddenly, oh, I want to apply computational thinking in my room. This one applied for second primary school student. So they are given a task to clean up the room. So what they did, no, the teacher didn't ask them to do anything. I mean, specifically, no. Go and clean up the room. You know what they did? They identify which has the same pattern. They say, can we put the box in one place, we put plastic in one place? Nothing wrong with that. Okay, so in we call it classification. We classify them, and so on. Nothing wrong with that. So when people come, oh, we already arrange everything very well. So if you go into city, you go into CTA, not call to action, computational thinking action. You put it into action. Try to put it into action. If especially something which can be applied in a daily life. That is what Wings mentioned, put in daily life. But when researcher went in, a lot of things happened in academia, in schools, STEM, in STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Okay, is it okay, Mufida?
Okay, Mr. Thank you for the answer. Your answer is very helpful.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Dr. Zaidi. I think this is the last session of ours. We are once again truly pleased have you here with us giving a lecture. And also, Pak Wiyata will contact you personally by email. And that's all for today. Thank you so much for your time. I'm giving back to Nela.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Inggang, for moderating me. Okay, my session, and I'm really happy for being here. And I look forward to go physically there. I came. Yeah. I need to go again, but maybe this time I need to go and exercise to go climb Mount Bromo.
Yes, you should. Asukara sama desta.
Oh, sushika shimasu. Domo, arigatou gozaimashita.
Oh.
Okay, the last agenda is the final agenda is closing and prayer to close the program. Let's recreate Hamdalah together. Finally, from the deepest of my heart, I do apologize for my mistakes in presenting this event. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye. Thank you, Dr. Zaidi.
Bye-bye, Dr. Wiyata. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your attention. Jumpa lagi ya.
Jumpa lagi.
Jumpa lagi.
Jaga-jaga diri, jaga kesehatan.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Permisi ya.
Yeah, thank you, Prof.
Ya, Bu.
Tanggal 15 matikan YouTube sama buat saya Pak yang ada masih bisa.